Last summer, I took a babysitting job in a quiet rural town to earn some extra money before starting college. Mr. Davis, a single father, needed someone to watch his two young children, Lily and Max, for the evening. He was going out for a rare night off, and I was more than happy to help. The kids were adorable and well-behaved. After dinner, we played some games and watched a movie. By 9 p.m., I had put them to bed and the house was quiet. I settled down on the couch with a book, enjoying the peaceful night. The rain had started to fall softly, creating a soothing backdrop. Around 10 p.m., just as I was getting comfortable, I heard a loud bang on the front door. My heart skipped a beat, and I froze. The banging continued, accompanied by a woman's voice shouting angrily, "You can't hide in there. I know you're in there with him. Come out, you thief." I cautiously approached the door and peeked through the peephole. A disheveled woman was standing on the porch, her hair matted by the rain. She looked furious, her eyes wild with rage. She continued to pound on the door, screaming accusations. "You think you can steal him from me? Open this door right now." Panic surged through me. I had no idea who this woman was or what she was talking about. I tried calling Mr. Davis, but his phone went straight to voicemail. I quickly dialed 911 and explained the situation to the dispatcher. They assured me that officers were on their way, but it would take time due to the remote location. The woman outside grew more agitated, kicking at the door and throwing things at the windows. "Come out, you coward! You think you can take him from me?" I realized then that she must be Mr. Davis's ex-girlfriend. From her crazed ranting, it was clear she thought I was his new girlfriend. I needed to protect myself and the children. I quietly moved through the house, locking all the doors and windows. I checked on Lily and Max, who were still sound asleep, thankfully unaware of the chaos outside. I decided to barricade ourselves in the master bedroom upstairs, where there was a landline phone. As I gathered the children and made my way upstairs, the woman's shouting grew louder. "I'm going to make you pay. You can't hide from me." We reached the master bedroom and I locked the door, pushing a heavy dresser in front of it. I tried to keep the kids calm, telling them it was just a game and we needed to stay quiet. Max clung to me, his eyes wide with fear, while Lily held her favorite stuffed animal tightly. I picked up the landline phone and dialed 911 again, updating them on the situation. The dispatcher told me to stay put and remain as quiet as possible until the police arrived. The woman continued to bang on the doors and windows, her screams echoing through the house. "I know you're in there. Come out and face me." I whispered to the kids to stay very quiet, hoping the woman wouldn't realize we had moved upstairs. Suddenly there was a loud crash from downstairs. She had broken a window and was inside the house. Tears streamed down my face as I held the children close. We could hear her footsteps below, and then the sound of her coming up the stairs. My heart pounded in my chest as I desperately tried to think of a plan. She reached the top of the stairs and tried the door to the master bedroom. Finding it locked, she pounded on it furiously. "Open this door. I know you're in there." I whispered to the kids to hide under the bed and called 911 again, barely able to keep my voice steady. "She's inside the house, trying to break down the door. Please hurry." The dispatcher stayed on the line with me, trying to keep me calm. "The officers are close. Stay quiet and keep the children hidden." The door shook violently as the woman threw her weight against it. The dresser held for now, but I knew it wouldn't last. Suddenly, there was the sound of sirens in the distance. The woman screamed in frustration, realizing her time was running out. "You can't keep him from me. This isn't over," she shouted one last time before running back down the stairs and out of the house. Moments later, the police arrived, their lights flashing through the windows. I unlocked the door and rushed downstairs with the children. The officers quickly secured the house and searched the property, but the woman was gone. The police took our statements and promised to increase patrols in the area. Mr. Davis returned home shortly after, horrified by what had happened. He thanked me profusely for protecting his children, but I was still shaken by the ordeal. The experience left me wary and anxious. The thought of that crazed woman and her threats haunted me for weeks. I never took another babysitting job in a remote location again. The memory of that night, the banging on the door and the angry shouts still linger. After graduating college, I took a job as a house sitter. It was an easy gig. Stay in luxurious homes, take care of the pets, water the plants, and ensure the place was secure. My latest job was at a sprawling estate on the outskirts of town. The owners, a wealthy couple, were away on a month-long European vacation. Their only instructions were to take care of their dog, Max, and keep an eye on the house. The estate was massive, with multiple bedrooms, a home theater, and a sprawling garden. The isolation was comforting. It felt like I had my own private retreat. On the fourth night, a storm rolled in. The wind howled through the trees and rain pelted the windows. I was curled up in the cozy living room, watching a movie with Max snoozing at my feet. Around 10 p.m., the power suddenly went out. The house was plunged into darkness, and Max woke up, growling softly. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and lit a few candles to keep the house illuminated. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the walls, and the storm outside made the atmosphere even more unsettling. I decided to check the circuit breaker in the basement. Max followed me closely, his ears perked up in alert. As I descended the stairs, I heard a faint thumping noise, like someone was knocking on a distant door. My heart pounded in my chest, but I convinced myself it was just the wind. The circuit breaker was fine, but the power remained off. I returned upstairs, trying to shake off the creeping sense of unease. Just as I reached the top of the stairs, I heard the thumping noise again, louder this time. It was coming from the front door. I cautiously approached the door, peering through the peephole. There was no one there. Max began to bark, his fur standing on end. I opened the door a crack, shining my flashlight outside. The rain was pouring down and the driveway was empty. I quickly shut and locked the door, my nerves on edge. Returning to the living room, I tried to calm down. Max sat by my side, still growling softly. I decided to distract myself by checking my phone, but there was no signal due to the storm. Just as I was about to put it down, a notification popped up. A text message from an unknown number. "Nice dog," it read. My blood ran cold. I looked around, trying to spot any signs of someone watching me. I texted back, "Who is this?" A few seconds later, another message appeared. "Check the garden." I grabbed the flashlight and hesitated, but my curiosity got the better of me. I opened the back door and stepped into the rain, Max following closely. The garden was vast and beautifully landscaped, but in the darkness and rain, it looked menacing. As I scanned the area with my flashlight, I saw a figure standing near the garden shed. They were motionless, watching me. Panic surged through me, and I quickly backed up towards the house, locking the door behind me. My hands shook as I tried to think of what to do next. My phone buzzed again. "Did you see me?" I didn't reply. Instead, I went to the security system control panel, hoping to get a better look at the intruder through the cameras. But to my horror, the system was offline, likely due to the power outage. Desperate, I decided to barricade myself in the master bedroom with Max. I locked the door and pushed a heavy dresser in front of it. The rain continued to beat against the windows, and the wind howled, louder than ever. Another text message. "I'm inside." My heart stopped. I looked around the room, trying to find something to defend myself with. Max growled, his eyes fixed on the closet. The door was slightly ajar, and I could see a shadow moving inside. Summoning all my courage, I grabbed a heavy lamp and approached the closet. My hand trembled as I flung the door open, only to find it empty. My phone buzzed again. Wrong room. Just then, I heard footsteps in the hallway. They were slow and deliberate, coming closer to the bedroom. Max barked furiously, and I gripped the lamp tighter, preparing for the worst. The footsteps stopped outside the door, and I heard a low, sinister chuckle. "You can't hide forever," the voice said. In a moment of desperation, I opened the window and climbed out onto the roof, Max following me. We made our way to the edge of the roof, where I saw the figure standing in the backyard, watching us with an unsettling smile. Just as I was about to lose hope, I saw the headlights of a car approaching the driveway. It was the security patrol the owners had hired to check on the property periodically. The figure in the backyard disappeared into the darkness, and I waved frantically to the guards. They rushed to my aid, helping me and Max down from the roof. I told them everything, and they conducted a thorough search of the house and grounds, but the intruder was gone. The power came back on later that night, and the security system was restored. The police were called, and they took my statement, but there was little they could do without more information. The experience left me shaken and paranoid, constantly looking over my shoulder. I left the house-sitting job the next day, unable to stay another night in that house. The owners were understanding, but the sense of violation and fear lingered long after I left. A few months ago, I found myself home alone one stormy evening. The wind howled outside and rain lashed against the windows, creating an eerie atmosphere. My parents were out of town, and my younger brother was staying at a friend's house. I decided to spend the night catching up on some work and watching movies. Around 9 p.m., just as I was getting comfortable, my phone rang. The number was unknown, but I answered it anyway. "Hello?" I said, expecting a wrong number or a telemarketer. There was a brief silence before a distorted voice replied, "Do you enjoy being alone?" I felt a chill run down my spine. "Who is this?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. The caller hung up without another word. Shaking it off as a prank, I returned to my movie. About 30 minutes later, my phone rang again. The same unknown number. "Who are you?" I answered, more annoyed than scared. "Why don't you check the back door?" the voice said, then hung up. My heart raced as I glanced towards the kitchen where the back door was. I tried to convince myself it was just a prank, but curiosity and fear compelled me to check. I grabbed a kitchen knife for reassurance and slowly walked to the back door. It was locked and nothing seemed out of place. I returned to the living room, my nerves on edge. I decided to call the police, but just as I picked up my phone, it rang again. The same unknown number. This time, I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, I listened to the message. "Look out the front window." I felt paralyzed with fear. Gathering my courage, I approached the front window, peeking through the curtains. At first, I saw nothing but the rain-soaked street. Then, in the faint glow of a streetlight, I saw a figure standing across the road, facing my house. I stepped back, heart pounding, and dialed 911. "There's someone outside my house," I told the dispatcher, my voice trembling. "They keep calling me and telling me to look outside." The dispatcher assured me that officers were on their way and told me to stay on the line. As I waited, the phone calls continued, each one more disturbing than the last. "Do you think they'll get there in time?" "I can see you." "You can't hide from me." The police arrived within minutes, but the figure had disappeared by the time they searched the area. They took my statement and promised to patrol the neighborhood throughout the night. I felt a bit safer with their presence, but the fear lingered. After the police left, I tried to settle down, but my phone rang again. This time, it was a text message from the unknown number. It was a photo of me looking out the front window, taken from somewhere in the darkness outside. Panic surged through me. I called the police again and they returned, conducting another thorough search. Still, they found nothing. They advised me to keep my doors and windows locked and to call them if anything else happened. The calls stopped after that, but I couldn't sleep. Every creak and groan of the house made me jump. The storm raged on, adding to the sense of dread. Around 3 a.m., just as I was starting to doze off, I heard a noise from the kitchen. I grabbed the knife again and quietly crept towards the sound. As I entered the kitchen, my phone rang one last time. The unknown number. "Goodbye," the voice whispered. The line went dead, and I heard a faint click from the back door. I ran to it and found it slightly ajar. In my panic earlier, I must have not locked it properly after checking it. I slammed it shut and locked it, my heart racing. The rest of the night passed in a blur of fear and anxiety. The police patrolled the area, but the caller was never found. The experience left me shaken and wary of being alone. To this day, I can't shake the memory of that distorted voice and the feeling of being watched. I have since installed a security system and always double-check my locks. But the fear lingers, a reminder of that terrifying night home alone. After a long week at work, I was looking forward to a quiet weekend at home. I had planned a night of relaxation with a good movie and some takeout. As the evening settled in, I put on my pajamas, grabbed a bowl of popcorn, and made myself comfortable on the couch. The house was quiet, and for the first time in days I felt a sense of peace. Around 8 p.m., just as I was getting into the movie, my phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. I frowned, picking up my phone to read it. "Hey Anna, miss me?" I didn't recognize the number, but the message was unsettling. I decided to ignore it, convincing myself it was just a wrong number. But then, another message followed. "It's been a long time, hasn't it? Got out early for good behavior." My heart pounded in my chest as realization hit me. It was Brandon, my ex-boyfriend. We had a tumultuous relationship that ended when he was arrested and sent to prison for assault. I had cut all ties with him, hoping to put that chapter of my life behind me. I took a deep breath and responded, "What do you want, Brandon?" His reply came almost instantly. "Just wanted to see you again. Maybe we can catch up. I'm close by." Panic surged through me. I hadn't heard from him in years, and now he was claiming to be nearby? I quickly checked the locks on all the doors and windows, my hands shaking. I tried calling the police, but the operator informed me that it would take time for officers to reach my rural location. I texted back, trying to keep my composure. "Stay away from me, Brandon. I'm calling the police." "Go ahead," he replied. "They won't get there in time." I dialed 911 again, explaining the situation. The dispatcher assured me that officers were on their way and advised me to stay inside and keep all doors and windows locked. Minutes later, I heard the sound of a car pulling up outside. My heart raced as I peered through the curtains. It was Brandon. He stepped out of the car, looking around as if searching for something. He was holding something in his hand, but I couldn't tell what it was from my vantage point. My phone buzzed again. "Come on, Anna, let's talk. I just want to see you." I didn't respond. Instead, I retreated to my bedroom, locking the door behind me. I could hear Brandon's footsteps approaching the house. He started banging on the front door, his voice muffled but menacing. "Anna, open the door. I know you're in there." Tears streamed down my face as I called the police again, pleading for them to hurry. The dispatcher stayed on the line with me, trying to keep me calm. The banging grew louder, more insistent. "I just want to talk," Brandon shouted, his voice growing more agitated. "Why are you hiding from me?" Suddenly, I heard the sound of glass shattering. He had broken a window and was trying to get inside. I knew I had to do something to protect myself. I grabbed a heavy lamp from my bedside table, holding it tightly as I backed into a corner. The dispatcher assured me that the police were close, but I felt like time was running out. Brandon's footsteps echoed through the house as he searched for me. I could hear him calling my name, his voice dripping with malice. "Anna, come out, wherever you are." The sound of his footsteps grew closer, and I could hear him trying the handle of the bedroom door. My heart pounded in my chest as I gripped the lamp tighter, ready to defend myself. Just as the door began to splinter under his force, I heard the distant wail of sirens. Brandon cursed under his breath and retreated, his footsteps fading away. Moments later, I heard the front door slam and the sound of a car speeding off. I stayed on the phone with the dispatcher until the police arrived. They searched the area but found no sign of Brandon. I gave my statement, describing the events of the night and my history with him. The police promised to increase patrols in the area and urged me to stay with a friend or family member for a while. I packed a bag and called my best friend, who lived nearby. She insisted I come over immediately, and I didn't hesitate. The experience left me shaken. Knowing Brandon was out there potentially watching and waiting made it hard to feel safe. The memory of his voice and the terror of that night still haunts me.